Hello, I am the Ink Taco, and today we're going to be watching Darwin's game, recapping the anime, and breaking down the differences in the manga. Let's get started. We begin with Kaname Sudo getting a message from his friend Hamada inviting him to Darwin's game. He opens up the app and gets bitten by the Darwin snake, unlocking his sigil. A sigil is a power that every person that plays Darwin games gets, and his sigil allows him to duplicate anything he touches. But he can't duplicate things that are complicated like cell phones or large like cars. On his way home, he unknowingly starts his first battle with Banda, the rookie killer. Banda starts to attack and Sudo manages to get away, making his way to a police station. But as soon as he tries to tell the police what's going on, Banda kills him. Just as Banda is about to stab Sudo, his friend Kyoto comes and saves him by shooting him with a crossbow. Banda uses his sigil to turn invisible, but Kyoto's sigil allows him to see other people's auras. Those two start to fight, and Banda eventually stabs Kyoto, injuring him. The two manage to get away, hiding in a parking garage. This is when Sudo gets a message from a mysterious person and tells him that Banda will find him because the app has a search function. Sudo hides Kyoto so he can fight Banda on his own. They fight, and eventually Banda gets hit by a car because he was invisible. Sudo wins his match because the time has expired. He watches Banda get deleted, and then he goes to find Kyoto, but Kyoto has already died and disappeared. The next day, he's playing with the app and sees that it has a gacha function. He rolls and he gets a handgun, and it actually gets delivered to his house. Later that night, he goes to a warehouse to meet the mysterious person that was messaging him during his Banda fight. Turns out to be Shuka Karano. She says she's willing to give him any information he wants about D-Game if he can be trusted. Long story short, she doesn't end up trusting him, and they start to fight. Her sigil is Queen of Thorns, which allows her to control wire-like objects. Eventually, Sudo gets the upper hand, and Shuka surrenders and agrees to help him. They get the invitation to the treasure hunt event and decide to scout it out. This is when a guy named Inuka steals Sudo's phone and challenges him to a battle. Sudo manages to win by getting Inuka's phone away from him and threatening to destroy it. They see the countdown to the treasure hunt event, and all three of them are teleported somewhere else. Sudo's teleported to a hotel room while Shuka's teleported somewhere else. This is where you see the creators of D-Game using some kind of mind control to get non-players out of the area. The event consists of 300 participants lasting 24 hours, and they have to collect rings in order to complete the event. Sudo manages to find a ring, but it's taken by a guy with a machine gun. This is where he runs into Rain. Her sigil more or less allows her to tell the future. She tells him to not get on the elevator, and he looks and sees that the machine gun guy is covered in vines. They agree to team up to get out of the hotel, and Sudo copies the gun of the machine gun guy. They make their way to the stairwell, but it's blocked by vines. Sudo asks if she knows anybody that could do that, and she says she thinks the florist did it. He's also controlling some of the people in the hotel. Rain stays behind to take care of the people being controlled while Sudo goes and finds the florist. In another scene, you see people watching and betting on the event. This is also where you meet Themis of Trinity Clan, which is leader of the gambling hall. The florist and Sudo begin to fight, and just as Sudo's about to lose, he hears and talks to his sigil, which tells him that he can alter the things that he creates. So he alters the gun and is able to defeat the florist. The machine gun guy, actual name Ryuji, joins the group after finding out that Wong from 8th Clan is in the event. This is when Sudo gets a text from Shuka saying she needs help. Sudo and Ryuji go to save Shuka, and this is where you find out that Ryuji's sigil is basically a lie detector. Shuka, trying to take a shortcut to get back to Sudo, ends up getting trapped by somebody in ice and water, almost drowning, but Sudo saves her. This is where you see that she plays D-Game because somebody murdered her parents. This is where you meet Sui/Soda, the person that traps Shuka. She's able to control water and ice. While they were saving Shuka, Rain figured out that the rings have a QR code, and each different ring type has a different code on it. The diamond ring finally drops, and 8th Clan makes their way to the hotel. The florist decides to stay while Rain goes and gets the diamond ring. 8th Clan starts to attack the hotel, and the Florist is there to defend it, but is ultimately killed by Keiichi and Shugi. Before he dies, he destroys the hotel with most of 8th Clan in it. Rain is able to get the diamond ring code and tells everybody to meet at Shibuya Station. As she's making her way through the station, she's caught by Wong, and then this is where Pseudo and the group shows up. Pseudo tries to negotiate, but Wong's like, nah, and so they start to fight. While Rain is using internal plots to find what the diamond code is used for, everybody else is fighting 8th Clan. This is where Ryuji gets attacked by Wong and gets his arm chopped off. Pseudo again tries to negotiate with Wong, and he tells him he has a key that goes to a safety deposit box at the bank. He tosses it to him, but it's a trick, and behind him he inputs a code to a locker, opening it, and as it opens, everyone starts to get teleported away, and that's the end of the event. Inside the lockbox is a phone, and Pseudo receives a call. It's from the Darwins game creator, and he rewards Pseudo with points for winning the event. He then tells Pseudo that he can grant him any wish, and Pseudo wishes to be out the game, but he says he can't do that. He gives examples that others have wished to become the manager of the gambling hall, or to have point matches at their place of business. Pseudo finally makes his wish, and the creator, before leaving, says that he has one final gift from him, the name of his sigil, which is Hinokagotsuchi. After that, Pseudo gets teleported away, and the phone gets deleted. Now you see someone from Kanahira Insurance Union go to see the florist's daughter about paying out his life insurance policy. A month or so has passed, and Ryuji has gotten his arm healed by Kaede, and Pseudo's been getting trained by Danjo. Pseudo wants to create an alliance with Danjo, but he wants to see if he's worthy of that, so they have a sparring match. Unfortunately, it's interrupted by Xuelong, the #1 D-game player. She kidnaps him and tells him that she wants to use him to create an heir for her family. The group is able to track him down, and this is where they have their first battle as the Sunset Ravens. After some fighting, they get Xuelong to surrender, and she also joins the Sunset Ravens. Pseudo gets a video from Wong saying he's kidnapped his friend Shonozuka and he's chopped his fingers off. With help from one of Rain's friends, they figure out that they're holding Shonozuka in one of the warehouses on the pier. When the group shows up to save Shonozuka, they also see that the cops are there. 8th Clan starts to attack the cops. Pseudo takes this opportunity to get Shonozuka a phone, gets him to join D-Game. He gets his sigil, but is still ultimately killed by Wong. When Pseudo and Ryuji finally make it to Wong, they find out that Shonozuka's dead. Pseudo starts a clan battle and starts killing 8th Clan members. Shuka takes Wong to a warehouse that she's strung up very thin wires around, and they start to fight. Eventually she chops off one of his legs, and he tries to teleport behind her, ends up chopping off one of his arms. Scared for his life, Wong teleports away, but unfortunately teleports himself right in front of Pseudo. Wong tries to beg for his life and surrender, but Pseudo says that's not good enough. Pseudo explains that his privilege is like all-in and poker, so he took all of 8th Clan's points, which means that everyone in 8th Clan is going to get deleted. With 8th Clan gone, the Sunset Ravens take over Shibuya, and they make it illegal to play D-Game in their territory. And we are finished with D-Game. So, now that we're done with the anime, let's get into the manga. In the first chapter, it introduces two characters, Sasaki and Togonaka, and they're both cops investigating the street art that's been happening around town, or what the people think is street art. Next, so Hamada doesn't exist in the manga, so Kyoda is the one that gets killed by Banda in the beginning, so Pseudo actually fights Banda alone, but the cop that Banda kills actually injures, that's how Banda actually gets injured in the manga. And then here we see that it tells you that if you use 1 point, you can use it to search, use the search function. And so that's how we found him in the bathroom. Here, which is like the craziest thing that I thought was that they left out, that they didn't put in it, which is actually that Kyoto's teacher is the one that killed him, and he's actually Banda. And he has a gambling problem and a money problem. That's why he plays Darwin's game, to get money. And then, okay, so the next day when he gets that gun from the gotcha, those two cops show up to give him his bag back and ask him questions about Kyoto and the murders, and or that his friend's missing and all that stuff, because he left it at the parking garage. Let's see. After, and here, where he said there's like, they show that there's no manual or anything that explains how the game works in the anime. After he beats Shuka, she's like, oh yeah, there's actually a manual, and it shows how many points you get for like winning, how many points you get for surviving, stuff like that. And it also explains the difference between class match battles and encounter battles, and she explains a bunch of other stuff to him that, you know, they left out. So this is when everyone gets teleported to Shibuya for the treasure hunt event, and actually Togonaka the cop actually got an invitation to it, because throughout a couple chapters they're figuring out what Darwin's game is, and there he actually gets an invite to it. He is participating in the game. His sigil allows him, which I think is pretty cool, his sigil allows him to summon his dead dog Toro, well, deceased dog, or however you want to call it. He gets to summon the dog, and he gets to use, he has like the same instincts as the dog, so but he can only see him, which I thought was pretty cool. And this shows that it's like, oh, he was bitten by the snake, popped out of his phone, and then he teleported. It shows that he looked like he wasn't drugged. Was he teleported? He's the one that actually finds the diamond ring in the manga. So he's looking for something, or he's going to try to communicate in the outside world, and he actually finds the diamond ring. And this is when he runs into Pseudo again, and he runs into Pseudo because they were actually looking for the ring, not Rain. So they find each other, and so he's like, let me see, Pseudo's like, let me see your ring, and that's how they get the diamond code. And he tells Togonaka to just throw it away if he wants to, you know, survive. And so this happened like earlier, like in one of the early chapters, but I was gonna do a different type of video with it. But this shows that guy from Kanehira Insurance Union that paid out the florist's daughter, they actually have people pay them for protection each month, so they don't get killed in D-Game. Okay, next is when Shuai-Long kidnaps Pseudo. So when she actually is going to kidnap Pseudo, Inuka sees them leaving, and he tries to save them, and then he ends up getting caught with them, or with Pseudo, and then they're actually riding along together. He's actually riding along with Shuai-Long and Pseudo when all that goes down. And this shows here that she didn't just like, or this basically shows how she took him. So they're like having a little meeting, and then she ends up knocking out Ryuji and Rain and just taking Pseudo. So that's how he got kidnapped. And this is towards the end. This is when they're gonna go save his friend from 8th Clan, and it introduces another police from the police department. He's actually also helping Togonaka investigate what's going on, and he wants to actually work together. He wants to try to work together with Pseudo to find out what's happening. And Pseudo basically tells him, you know, to suck it, and they ride off. But that's one of the reasons why the cops actually show up to go get his friend, is because those guys brought the cops with them. So, and I think, yep, that's it. That's all. There was a couple other differences, but I didn't include them for the most part. You know, there's another thing like where there's actually no butterflies when somebody dies in the entire manga. I haven't seen any butterflies. That's something that's not in there. And so that's it. That's it for the manga. That's it for the anime. No new season confirmed. So, all right, that's it.